Hey everybody, so today we're going to be reacting to our video titled How Do the Chinese See the US in 2024? Now, if you guys remember, we did the same topic a few years ago and that video ended up getting millions of views because people thought that it was quite fascinating for them to hear from the ordinary Chinese citizens as opposed to, watching the BBCs and CNNs of the world. And we did it again because we know that this year there are a lot more sensitive issues in both countries. It's the election season in the US. So I think that people are very interested in us actually providing some sort of a context and some sort of an analysis, because I swear some people still think that we put paid actors I don't actually fault them for thinking that, because there's so many street interviews these days and they just always put planned actors there, right? Or they're already like, oh, it's random street interview, but it's not. But I think it's actually really disrespectful and doing disservice to our reporters, some of whom you even recommended, and they have to stand outside for like 7-8 hours.
On average, I would say like just a normal work time, I would say 8 hours. Because most of not only Chinese people but also Asian people, they're pretty shy. They don't want to appear on the screen, and sometimes if you catch someone who are willing to do the interview and they were like, oh, can you put I don't want my face on the screen, can you put like a mosaic on?
Can you blur my face out? Then it's like, what's the point? Why did you just say you were gonna do it in the first place?
And then why you're just standing in front of camera for about 15 to 20 minutes? But I mean, I understand it because this might be their first time. So and also sometimes after the interview they feel regret about what they said and they want, can you cut that part out? I mean, if they really want us, we have to respect that, right? So we have to just cut that part out. But that means we have to find a new person. So it's a total another waste of 20 minutes. I would say when I approach about 10 people, 1 to 2 probably will say yes. And the other thing is we don't wanna. I wanna interview different kinds of people, guys, girls, or older generation, younger generation, or people are at middle age. It will be great if we can, because people are different age or different gender or different background, or they have different kind of opinions. And also people are always asking why Asian bosses interview people in Shanghai. Why don't you just go to a rural area to do the interview? You tell them. Well, the thing is Shanghai is a very diverse place, because the people who appear on the screen, I would say more than 50% of them, they're not from Shanghai.
Right.
They're from different areas. So if we go to a rural area, probably we'll get 10 sets of people with basically the same answers. So I would say it's easier for us to get more different kinds of opinion if we do the interview in Shanghai or maybe in Beijing.
I think that's a really good point, because even in Seoul, on average, you do have to approach about almost 100 people over the course of almost 8 hours. They get tired. Because the majority of the responses will be like, no, sorry. I mean, would you do it if somebody stopped you in the middle of the street?
I always reject. I always. As long as they give us some gift.
Right, which we don't.
We don't.
We don't even want to pay people to do it. Because that's
I would say maybe give them a piece of candy would be fine. But
to date, over the past 10 years, we've never given out any stuff. For the sake of objectivity, right? Because we don't want to be seen as bribing them.
That's true. That's true.
So I think we can dispel the notion once and for all that we are somehow getting paid by the Chinese government to propagate their message or things like that, which
they don't need
which
to
is
do
just so silly.
Well, if you're questioned about that, you go to the street in China or just ask your Chinese friends around you. You'll get the answer. It's pretty easy.
And either way, if the government people watch this video, I don't think the Chinese government will be very happy anyway.
Even though sometimes we're concerned, some answers, well, do you think the Chinese government will think do they fine us or think this content is not satisfied? But the thing is, they don't care.
At first I was like, can we really do this? But then we've been doing it for so long without any kind of a government provided license or we just do it. And then that's what everybody does also in China too. So
Okay, so here's the fact. We can say anything about a government, but we cannot say anything about the leader. Anything, even Chinese people, they complain about the government, how their local government are now doing a great job.
That's
The
interesting. I
leader,
never thought about that.
yeah, the leader of their like a province, they are not satisfied about their work, and also for example, the leader of a police station, they can talk, they can complain about their work all day long, every day. They don't get caught. You can say that on internet, on social media, as much as you want, but you cannot say anything bad about that.
President.
Yeah, the specific person.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is the bottom line.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I learned something new. Yeah. So this video, I think, if I say so myself, and you've seen this also, I honestly think this is one of our best interviews we've done to date in terms of the diverse perspective. And it feels very dynamic, not only just because they have a bunch of kids probably giving cute answers.
Well, sometimes I feel like kids they're pure. They haven't, what would say, they haven't even, they say something that they learned, they heard. So what the Chinese kids, or those kids said, are actually can show people this is what the country or the education, the school are teaching, or the family are teaching these kids.
Yeah. So maybe we can start watching and then we can provide more in-depth commentary as we go along.
Yeah, sure.
So let's hit it.
中国人，你们对于美国的印象是什么？
还行，就是因为我没去过美国嘛，我觉得美国就是有很多新文化，就是一
而且
个
很自由。
对很发达的一个国家，科技发达。
我觉得居中吧，但是总体上应该是偏正面一点。虽然我也没去过美国嘛，但是就是你像那个科技发展这一块的话，我觉得现在应该美国还是独一档的存在那种，所以就是总体上我对他的看法就是还是可能正面会偏多一点。
整体的呢，你也看说不上是正面负面的，就是觉得呢，最近这几年美国好像针对中国搞的这个贸易战、金融战、科技战这种比较多。我们就弄不懂为啥美国一直这么搞。实际上，中国人也好，美国人也好，这个老百姓之间都无所谓的，对吧？这个政府之间老是这么搞，我觉得也没多大意思。
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's quite interesting how the majority of the people, including the little kids, they generally tend to have a positive sort of image of the US. And that itself might kind of go against the perception, especially from the West. It's like, oh, all Chinese people hate the US. What do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because, the American propaganda versus Chinese propaganda is kind of different. So basically, when I was a kid, when I was in school, even our teacher, they never say anything negative about America.
Really?
Because we always know that America is number one in the world. It's the technology, culture, even including my generation or my younger generation or my parents' generation, they always want to go to America to see, how this country really look like. And we hear a lot of different kind of stuff. And the other thing is even my grandparents' generation, they started immigrating to America. So they tell our, the younger generation that how this country really looks like. So this is something that it cannot lie about it. Even if the Chinese government, they lied about it, America is living like hell and stuff. People will question about the government as well. They was like, you're not talking about the truth. A lot of people know that. But the thing is, recently, because China's economy is developed so fast, so some people change their mind. They think, living in China can be a good choice as well. So,
but if it's still developing.
Yeah, China is the biggest developing country, and we all know that. This is the fact. So America, number one developed country, and China is number one developing country, and the Chinese people are aware of how the large population in China right now, and they know there's something that we can never compare to the U.S. U.S. always is ahead of China.
If the Chinese government lied about how bad the U.S. is, then everybody would know about it. In North Korea, which a lot of people I know, they equate North Korea and China because of the same communist regime. That's exactly how North Koreans would teach their citizens.
Yes.
Oh, U.S. is a living hell, and that they're just like the worst, poor. And then for a long time, people actually believed that.
Yes.
Right.
And also, this is a very interesting question. I actually asked. There's a North Korean came to our school last Friday to give us a speech about his life before he came to Korea. And I asked him the question about can you tell us because he was in China for a while as well. So I asked him, can you tell the major differences between China and North Korea, because we are all in living in a communist country. And he says, actually, North Korea is not a communist country. North Korea is more like a dictatorship country. It's not a communist country. And because in China has been developed for decades. So China actually accepts something like capitalism in China as well. We have a democracy in China as well, because the leader of China, chairman of China, he has some idea to do, make some progress. He cannot just do it directly. There's like a whole Chinese, leader who represent the people of China. They vote. One is to reject it, say no, and one is to say yes. If more than 50% of them, they voted no. So even though the chairman want to pass this agenda, they can't. They want to pass this law, they can't. But if more than 50% they say yes, then you can,
But I thought that
do it.
in practice, President Xi now has such a power that
right now,
it is not like no one's gonna go vote no, right? Below 50%.
Well, the thing is, this is something that a lot of Chinese people feel so intense about recently. But in the past 30 or 40 years, this is how Chinese government work in the past.
I see.
But a lot of people, they don't know about it. Even me, like I know there's like a voting system in China that, the whole team is about 3,000 people. So not like a small team like 12 people.
It's a massive assembly.
It's a massive, like those leader, like the leader to represent people there from different kind of areas.
Right.
So you voted and you cannot show your name on it, without your name appear on the sheet. So I would say it's pretty fair. But right now, the leader is kind of sort of like changing I would say the democracy way of the Chinese system.
Ironically enough, up until now, they really did act like a proper communist country.
Exactly.
Whereas recently, the ruler or the chairman Xi, he's the one that even enshrined himself into the constitution, so he cannot be ousted.
But still, it's still pretty hard for him because he cannot change anything just by himself in one day.
I see. Whereas in North Korea, one person can
do it, and also like we can do anything good. China cannot develop without knowing how good America is. So Chinese people are pretty willing to learn new stuff, and I would say in China when we were young, the school not only teach how like Chinese, like China are doing a good job right now, but also like a lot of foreign countries are actually doing a good job as well. They're how people outside of China are living a very wonderful life, and if you want to approach this kind of life, you have to work hard as well. So I think there's like two sides of it.